Welcome to Band of Bettors, a sports betting show looking to be more data-driven for you, the sports bettor. Brad Kronthal here, joined as always by my brother Spencer Kronthal. It is holiday weekend approaching. Hanukkah, Christmas. What could be better? Spencer, how you doing?
Doing great. It's the best time of the year. Football season's coming to a close. We got the holidays coming up. Had some awesome finishes. I mean, finishes we've never seen before in this last week.
I feel like your intro could be scripted every week. Awesome time, awesome games, awesome this.
All right, so next week I'll start it off and hand it off to you, and we'll see what you can come up with next time. What am I supposed to say? It was a horrible week of football last week.
It was absolutely insane. Saturday football did not disappoint. Maybe we should push college off a little bit sooner in the year so we could have the exciting games that we had. The greatest comeback in NFL history? That's where I'm going to start this conversation. Vikings down 33-0 to the Colts at home. Come all the way back. And if you're like me, you're pretty happy because the Colts still found a way to cover. I also got in on a live bet. But let's start there, Spencer. How about that Vikings-Colts game to start the weekend?
I mean, it was over. 33-0. It was crazy. And then the resiliency of the team, not just are they coming back, but then you have the fumble return for a touchdown that's called back by the refs. Still overcoming that. Dalvin Cook busting into the end zone at the end of the game, getting the 2-point conversion. It was insane.
Kirk Cousins, 460 passing yards. It just led to another exciting week in the NFL, which led to absolute craziness. You didn't think you could cap that with Minnesota, but Spencer, I think your favorite moment of the week is going to do so.
I mean, I'm looking at the Raiders, the walk-off, fumble interception, whatever you want to call it. Chandler Jones absolutely manhandling Mac Jones on the stiff arm to the ground. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
I have no words for that. I'm not quite sure what the Patriots were doing there. That certainly was not in the playbook, and you could see Belichick going to shake the hand of former assistant Josh McDaniels. He must have been fuming at the tank there. I've never seen anything like it. Another week in the NFL, you see something, you can't explain it, and you're treated to some awesome entertainment, unless, of course, you were betting on New England, which, a lot of bettors have to be angry this week. I saw a lot of posts this week. Brian Robinson parlays or just flat out anytime touchdown scores getting called back, in that ridiculous call in Washington against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. The refs staking their claim again in Week 15. But, what do you think of the whole official situation in the NFL? Because it just seems like it's getting ridiculous. And to give a little context, Terry McLaurin, they threw a flag on him for not being lined up on the line. The Commander scored a touchdown on that play. McLaurin in his post-game interview said, "I checked with the ref." And you can see this on the video if you look it up online on Twitter, on the NFL. McLaurin looks at the ref to his right. He says, "How am I?" The ref said something. McLaurin moves up a little bit, gives the thumbs up, and as soon as the ball is snapped, the ref threw the flag for McLaurin being lined up wrong. Cost the Commanders a touchdown and then the game. Not even to mention the refs probably missed a blatant pass interference call in that final play. But what do you think of the ref situation?
Yeah, I was going to say, they also missed the PI call. I normally love them playing through it and not calling it, but at a certain point, it's just getting to the point where it's so arbitrary. I mean, one, to tell McLaurin that you lined up correctly, give him the thumbs up and say you're good. I don't even know what to say about that one. That's absolutely absurd. But the refs, I mean, it's gotten so arbitrary. We're to the point where it's, we happen to blow a whistle. You look at the Minnesota game. I mean, you were witnessing history. I compared it to when Jim Joyce called back Armando Galarraga's perfect game by missing the out call in the last play. It's the same level of magnitude. It's even rarer. It's the biggest comeback in NFL history, and it was almost taken away because they happened to blow a whistle, just like they happened to not call PI. I mean, these are outcomes of games. They tend to swallow the whistle more as we get later to the year. But how you can't be so inconsistent. Either call it or don't, but call it the same every time. And it's absolutely affecting not just the gameplay of a specific game. It used to be a play. Now it's the outcome of the game. It's going to be the outcome of the season. We saw it last year. There was the questionable call in the Super Bowl, the defensive holding that essentially gifted them a touchdown at the end of the game against Cincinnati for the Rams. At what point does something change?
Oh, absolutely. It's bad. Not much else to say. Feel bad for you, though, if you do have those bets. I mean, imagine scoring a touchdown for Brian Robinson, seeing that happen in real time, only to see it get called back and you lose a parlay, a straight bet. It just sucks. Personally, I was on the Giants side, so my wallet did not suffer, but I can only imagine so many of these decisions being impacted by the bets, by the refs. So let's go and talk about some of our decisions last week. Spencer, pulling up your picks from last week. Let's walk through it. So starting with Indianapolis. Never a doubt in that second half that they were going to cover.
Oh, absolutely. Had him by plus 4.5. I was feeling pretty good the entire game. Of course, until it went to overtime. But really happy to get the cover. I'm happy Minnesota won. I'm happy they only won by 3. Baltimore, I mean, what is going on in Baltimore? You see Tyus Bowser sharing an Instagram of of a fan dropping notes to fire Greg Roman on the page. Harbaugh backs his coordinator. Regardless of what I see, Baltimore's offense is atrocious, and something's got to be changed, but I don't see any change happening. I sure as heck aren't taking Baltimore plus 7 or plus 7.5 against Atlanta this week. Miami, I like the division staying close. Miami was due for a bounce back. They still lost the game, but they're looking to right the ship against Buffalo. I thought getting more than a touchdown there had a lot of value. And then, frankly, I like Pittsburgh to cover straight up. Tennessee, I'll take the push, but tough late second, last second field goal by the Chargers. I like Tennessee to bounce back. They weren't the team that showed up the last couple weeks either.
Absolutely. I agreed with you for a lot of the picks there. So I wasn't able to log my picks before the weekend. I had some internet issues, so they're on there, but they're not fully tracked well on BetSemp, I don't think, when you go to my page. But I had a lot in this weekend, so let's go through them. So starting in Indianapolis, I got 3.5. Woo! Never down the second half. I also got in live with Minnesota plus 10.5. That was right before, I believe, the fumble return for a touchdown. So I was pissed about that, but then they obviously made up for it. So killing 2 birds with 1 stone in that game. Okay, Baltimore. That game sucked. The Ravens plus 3. They only scored 3 points. Worst game of Saturday, maybe the worst game of the weekend. Boring, dull. The Greg Roman offense is not pulling out any tricks at this time of the year.
Remember when it was supposed to be revolutionary?
Oh, it's revolutionary, just not how you'd want it. Oh my gosh! And the run game was great. I mean, J.K. Dobbins. If Dobbins hits that 6th gear, he's scoring a touchdown. But he's just came back from that leg scope, the knee scope, and he's just not fully there. He's busting through the holes, but he just doesn't have the breakaway speed. But let's move on. That game was terrible. Cleveland wins an ugly one. I lose the bet. We'll take it. Miami got in at plus 7. Great game. Really exciting game in Buffalo on Saturday night. Thought Miami might take it to them at the end, but Buffalo comes out with the win. They cover. Feeling great. I mean, going through the early games of Sunday, Pittsburgh plus 2.5. Detroit got in. I felt great about my Detroit bet because I got in early. It was plus 1.5. Then Mike White was ruled out. They put Zach Wilson in. It went all the way down to minus money for Detroit. Then it came all the way back. I think it might have even closed around 2 or 2.5. Either way, Detroit escapes with the win. The Jets missed field goal at the end. We take it. And then Jacksonville. Our systems love this pick. Alloy Systems love Jacksonville. I threw some money on it. I didn't feel that confident in it. And especially when it started with Dallas having a multi-touchdown lead. Jacksonville roaring back at home. And like you said, they've got a really good chance to take that division in the final 3 weeks with Tennessee playing as bad as they are. Then we kind of hit a lull. You can see my unit sizes decrease here a little bit. New Orleans had a free bet. Didn't feel great, even though Atlanta started. Ritter minus 4. Atlanta, the sports books got this one right on the nose. Atlanta covers. Arizona felt a $5 bet too. Our strategies liked them. I don't like betting on bad teams, bad quarterbacks. Both teams had the backups in, and then Arizona had to go to their 3rd string. Bad news, that loss. Tampa Bay was feeling really good about. They blew it. Tennessee, I got in. You see that plus 2.5. I decided to go in at 2.5 with the VIG at plus 100. Thought Tennessee was going to come back and win this game. So I didn't take the minus 115 at plus 3. I suffered. I lost. And then the Giants did close me out with the win. So a lot of bets in Week 15 for me. Plus money, plus ROI. It's all that matters. But, I mean, I should have just capped it after the Saturday and early games. I'd be in great business there.
Absolutely. Seems like you got a bet in on every game, but came out pretty profitable. I know our road grader strategy had a heck of a week last week, which you can see in our results.
Almost. So I did want to cover one futures bet, and this is, we talk about these throughout the weeks and divisions are getting close. I know the AFC South is interesting, but I really want to talk about the AFC North. It flipped this week finally. So the Bengals now have a one-game lead on the Ravens. They are 10-4. The Ravens beat them head-to-head. They face each other the final week of the season. What a matchup that might be, coming off a sixth straight win in Cincinnati. The Ravens have been struggling lately. They're 9-5, a game back now. The Ravens have been in control of the division futures all year. Right now, Cincinnati's at minus 195 to win the division. The Ravens are at plus 155. Do the Ravens have a play? Let me preface this. I know I asked you a question, but let me preface this. Cincinnati's final three games. This weekend at New England, then home against Buffalo, and then home against Baltimore. The Ravens, home against Atlanta this week, home against Pittsburgh, at Cincinnati. Ravens, on paper, have an easier finish. How do you think this shakes out?
Yeah, so when I look at this, I think if Baltimore would have won last week, they'd be sitting pretty. But as it is right now, essentially, if Baltimore can win 2 out of 3, they get the division, given the tiebreaker, assuming because they'll end up at what would
If
that
they
put
can
them?
stay within one game of Cincinnati until the final week of the season, then it becomes, winner takes all.
Exactly. If they can win 2 out of 3, including the Bengals, they're in a great spot. Get the Bengals to go, as long as they don't go 3-0. I think my math is a little messed up. Might be a little messed up there. But regardless of it saying, I don't think Baltimore can come through over the next 3 weeks. I'm seeing a team that's in shambles. One, I don't see them being Cincinnati. I don't even think they can take either Atlanta and Pittsburgh, given the current state of the offense. I know Lamar's probably going to come back, if not this week, maybe the next week. He's coming off that MCL sprain. But when I look at a Baltimore team, they were struggling with Lamar at quarterback also. I know since he's got a tough schedule, and I don't think they're going to win out, I just don't see Baltimore doing their end of the bargain, regardless of my messed up math with how many games they have to win.
I think we know the Pittsburgh game for Baltimore is going to be close. It doesn't matter who you trot out. Pittsburgh could have trot out 9 guys. It'll still be a one-score game. It's like the COVID game a couple of years ago that got played on a Wednesday in Pittsburgh. The Ravens were playing guys they picked up that week, third stringers and practice squad guys, and it came down to the very end. So I think that game will definitely be a battle. Gosh, it just seems like the Ravens at the end of the seasons now start to trend down when it comes to offensive production. Love the defense. Roquan Smith has made such an immediate impact. Patrick Queen's been great since he's come over. We'll see how they are health-wise, but it's tough. I mean, I could see Cincinnati taking it to Buffalo at home. I mean, they are peaking right now. Their offense looks crisp. The defense is strong. Mixon and P. Ryan are playing well. It's hard to predict this one. I'd rather go with the plus money if it's close, just because we'll see. But I don't know. It's going to come down to the very end. So that's my thoughts. Nothing too insightful there. But one team is trending up, one team is trending down. We'll see. Usually you go on the team trending up. That's Cincinnati right now. All right, Week 16, holiday weekend. Time to get to our forecast plays. Spencer, what's been working for you, and where are you looking at this coming week?
Yeah, so I'm looking to ride my similar strategies that have been giving me success during this season. So I'm looking at drive extenders again. I've been trying to stay pretty consistent with who I've been betting. So I'm looking at, I really like Jacksonville at +1 at the Jets. Jacksonville's playing really hot. Really don't care who's at quarterback for the Jets this week, so I'm going to take those odds. Giants +3 at Minnesota. Ooh, it's going to be tough to take. Minnesota's hot. The Giants, they're coming off the big division win. Interesting. I'm going to ride with the numbers and take them. And then I like Vegas +2.5 at Pittsburgh. Next, I'm looking at the heavy underdogs section. And I've got Atlanta +7.5 at Baltimore. Seattle +9.5 at KC. Seattle's had a tough stretch. I think they might be able to cover there. Interestingly enough, this is showing Philly at +6 against Dallas. I know it's a road game in the division, but that's a lot.
Hurts is hurt.
Still, as Micah Parsons said, this team is more than just Jalen Hurts.
Well, if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, that's a big problem.
So I'm I'm willing to take that. I think the odds are there. I love the rest of the team beyond it. Miles Sanders, I know he didn't have a great week last week. I know Hurts is hurt, but I'm going to ride with Micah Parsons against his own logic and say that Philly is more than just their quarterback. Finally, Green Bay +6 at Miami. I'm rolling with the numbers this week. I'm going to factor in that Jalen Hurts injury with the spread and say that it was taken care of. And let's roll with Gardner Minshew and the team.
Awesome. So our road grader strategy, I mean, this is the free one. You sign up for Allo. I've been mentioning the last couple weeks. It has been hot. Sign up, you get it, right? This strategy in the last 2 weeks has gone 10-4 for underdogs. I think it's like 13-5 overall. Don't quote me on that one, but it has been crushing it over the last couple weeks. So I'm going to ride it again. And for reference, last week, I'm going to pull up right now. It literally was fantastic. So it hit with the Dolphins, the Lions, the Steelers, and the Colts. It lost the Ravens game, and it pushed the Titans game. So there's your reference from week 15. Let's see who we got from week 16. Got to scroll. So it's got Jacksonville +1. So I've seen it in a few different lines already at a few different books. I think FanDuel's at -1.5, MGM's at +1. Pretty much a pick 'em. If you want the value in Jacksonville, I mean, it is surprising to see, while they are on the road, them open up as dogs. So maybe that's a money line play there. Houston at +7. I've seen this line come down a little. Now, here's Houston, okay? Houston's been favored by a few different of our strategies that we've forecasted the last couple weeks, being heavy underdogs. And they've covered twice. No way was I putting my money on Houston. Is this the week to do it? I'm still probably not going to put my money on Houston, but the system likes them +7 at Tennessee. Tennessee's got to bounce back, right? I mean,
I would think.
One of these games, they're just going to blow up in a good way. It also likes Philly +6, like you said, at Dallas. We'll see. Gonna hold that one. I mean, if Jalen Hurts plays, then that's a big deal, and that's a great line, but we're gonna hold off on that one. So those couple games are games that I really like. I've been also running it back with our defensive pressure strategy. Last week, this liked a lot of games. It went 6-6. You'll see it also likes the Jaguars, Giants +3, New England at home +3, Detroit on the road, and then it likes Cleveland, Vegas. Is that Denver? It likes a lot of games because it's profitable for both favorites and underdogs, depending on the bucket. So, defensive pressures, road grader, I really like those two. Last week, we pretty much unveiled a trend that was rushing touchdowns per game. If you're just betting off that one stat, then you would be winning. So it's 20-11 this year for heavy underdogs when that team enters a game scoring more rushing touchdowns per game than their opponent. Just telling you some games that fit that trend. So Chicago this week against Buffalo, Atlanta in Baltimore, and and Philly at Dallas. So those are the three games that fit this strategy. Really not a strategy, just a trend. But if you're looking at that trend, 2011 heavy underdogs are the three games that fit. Trying to give you some insight, some data behind the picks you're making. That's what we do. Spencer, any closing thoughts on week 16 to come?
Well, if this week can be half as good as last week, at least not with regards to the refs, I think we're in for a real holiday treat.
Watch out for Denver and the Rams. It's going to be a barn burner in LA. That's going to be your game to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that one, but
the over-under is 36.5. You making a play there?
I'm not, but I'll take the under on this call.
You're going to take the under? Fine. I'll do a man-to-man bet. No data to back it, just for fun. I'll go the over. 36.5. Denver at LA Rams. Baker Mayfield versus Brett Rippon again? Game to watch. Prime time.
We'll see you there.
All right, with that, let's wrap it up. This is Band of Bettors brought to you by Alloy Sports on the Hammer Betting Network, and we are so thankful for you guys listening. Hope you have a wonderful week. Good luck on all your bets. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next week when we tell you about our wins that our strategies like. So have a great weekend.